Today we are going to discuss Fulbright opportunities for students that are interested in either teaching or studying abroad. We have with us Mr. Grant Stream Gonzalez, Outreach and Recruitment Officer for the Fulbright program. So Grant, can you first tell our students what is Fulbright?
Yeah, absolutely, and just first, thank you so much for having me on your campus today. I know that we're really excited to be here, and we're excited to tell more students at Fayetteville State about this opportunity. Fulbright is an academic and cultural exchange program between the U.S. and about 160 other countries. And for the Fulbright U.S. student side of the program, we send students who have at least a bachelor's degree by the time they start their grant to 140 different countries to conduct a few things. They can either do independent research in that country where they tell us about a project they'd really like to do in a specific country and why they're a great person to do it, to earn a fully funded master's degree in another country, which I think is a really exciting opportunity. And more countries are offering opportunities for students to go abroad after their undergraduate experience and spend a year, 2 years, earning a master's degree in another country. And then finally, the largest side of the Fulbright U.S. student side of the program, we send most students abroad to teach English and American culture in a classroom abroad. And regardless of what all these things that these students can do, they're all going to have the same mission. And that mission is to promote mutual understanding between the people of the U.S. and people of the countries that they go to through this exchange. So they're doing the research, they're teaching, they're earning a master's degree, and they're getting funded to do that fully for an academic year. But the purpose is that they meet people from another country and that other countries, people from other countries get the opportunity to meet them.
Thank you. So I get from you that there are two ways students can engage in the Fulbright. One is by either studying abroad, or the other one is by becoming an English teaching assistant.
Yeah. Well, so we want to distance from the idea of or necessarily the phrasing of study abroad, because Fulbright's not like a typical undergraduate study abroad experience. And in fact, you have to have a bachelor's degree by the time you go on your grant. But you're right, there are two major buckets, and that's the independent research project or earning a graduate degree, and those are what we call our study research opportunities, or teaching English in the classroom abroad. But what's exciting and interesting to know is that given that we work with 140 different countries, the opportunities are seemingly endless once you get onto the website and you see the niche awards that students can go after, or the various types of things that students can do in different countries. I mean, those are our major buckets, but when you really get in there, you'll see that Germany, for instance, has an award in journalism, quite specifically, or that Taiwan has an award to go and teach speech and debate in their classrooms abroad.
So who is Fulbright actually looking for?
Yeah, we're looking for excellent individuals from every corner of the U.S. to go abroad and represent their slice of America to countries abroad. So sure, we're looking for brilliant students, excellent students, but we're looking for people who are culturally curious and are going to be great citizen ambassadors. We're looking for people who can truly fulfill the mission of promoting mutual understanding between the U.S. and other countries. And we're looking for people to promote mutual understanding from diverse backgrounds. It's important and imperative that the U.S. student program send abroad a cohort of students that is as diverse as the U.S. itself, to share with the rest of the world that there's not one specific type of American, that Americans don't all come from the same backgrounds, go to the same institutions, have the same experiences here in America. And so we're looking for excellent cultural ambassadors who are capable and willing to share their story, to step away from their projects and meet people in the host country and share what slice of America they're from.
Thank you. Does a student need to have had experience abroad before they can consider or apply for any Fulbright opportunity?
Not necessarily at all. For the Fulbright program, actually, there is a preference on our website that a lot of students are drawn to and go to that says that extensive experience in the host country may put someone at a competitive disadvantage in applying for Fulbright. I want to be quite clear that no amount of undergraduate study abroad will put a student at competitive disadvantage. No amount of time spent as in early childhood, if they happen to be a child of the military, child of academia, child of the corporate world, that's not what we're looking at for that preference factor. Any time spent abroad in the host country, 6 or more months post their undergraduate experience, may actually put them at a competitive disadvantage, because this is an opportunity where we're hoping to send people abroad to have these transformative and novel cultural experiences. And so we love seeing individuals who have not had experiences abroad apply for this opportunity, because there are about 150 reasons why students might not have studied abroad in undergraduate experience, in their undergraduate experiences. And this is an opportunity for them to take advantage of an academic year that's going to be fully funded abroad. So if there were financial restrictions as an undergraduate, if there were academic restrictions, professional, family restrictions as an undergraduate, this is an opportunity after having completed your bachelor's degree to go abroad for 8 to 10 months and truly have an international experience. And it might be your first, it might be your second or third if you have studied abroad in your undergraduate experience. But we encourage and expect that people will be taking this as a new experience.
So let's say a student applies for the Fulbright and gets selected. What kind of support can they expect from the Fulbright scholarship that they have got?
I think it's going to depend on the country, but I think it's worth noting that they can expect a lot. Fulbright is the flagship exchange program for the United States Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. They are the sponsors of this program. So when you're accepted into the Fulbright program, you become a citizen diplomat on behalf of the United States. So you can expect support from the embassy in the host country. If the host country has what we call a Fulbright Commission, an established Fulbright Commission, you can expect support from them. Support from where I work. I work at the Institute of International Education. We have a team of advisors who can reach out at any given time to a student. They can also expect financial support. We mentioned that a little bit earlier, but this is a fully funded academic year abroad. So they can expect a monthly stipend that's based on the cost of living in the host country. And then other benefits depending on what country it is that they're going to. Some of those benefits include language lessons in some countries, dependent support. If a student happens to have a spouse or children that they'd like to bring along and they'd like to make a Fulbright family out of it, we'd love to send them abroad. And certain countries will provide a small monetary stipend. There's accident and sickness protection benefits if something should happen while they're abroad. And then 24-hour access to counseling, mental health services, because going abroad certainly can be challenging. And we recognize and appreciate that. And so I think that Fulbright grantees receive a lot of support from a lot of different angles. Yeah.
So in addition to the financial stipend that they will get while they are in country, does the Fulbright grant also provide, the transport or the airline and those kind of fees that
Sure.
the student will have to otherwise pay from out of pocket?
Yeah, so we're going to provide round-trip airfare to the host country. The stipend is going to encompass what one may expect in some cases for ground transportation. The stipend is going to be based on the cost of living in that host country, and we find a good way to sort of frame how much that's going to be is that the student can expect to live at the standard of living of a graduate student in that host country. So their financial considerations should be taken care of for the most part in most cases. Everything's going to be different depending on the country that the student is applying for. The stipend amounts certainly vary, but we want this to be a somewhat financial no-brainer. If a student is able to apply for and win one of these grants, we want them to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. And one of the ways that we're certainly able to do that for students who may have disabilities, whether visible or invisible, we have set aside funding for those students with disabilities so that they too can take advantage of these opportunities. And we have, as a federally funded program, funding set aside for reasonable accommodations so that folks can go abroad. And we send students with disabilities abroad and provide them with the resources necessary in order to be successful in these countries.
That's wonderful to know. And now, after hearing all these wonderful benefits, can you tell our students how they can apply for these opportunities?
Yeah, well, as it is, getting into 2020, our application, you won't be surprised, is fully online. So for our U.S. student side of the program, it is very important that they are finding the U.S. student side of the program online. Fulbright is a gigantic program with lots of different opportunities, but the one that's going to be available for students who are in their undergraduate experiences thinking about taking this on immediately following undergraduate or as part of their graduate degree enrollment programs, as part of their research as a graduate student, or after they've received a master's. Maybe they're going for a PhD or they're between any of these stages. They can go to us.fulbrightonline.org, again, us.fulbrightonline.org, in order to find more information about all of these opportunities, go through our roadmap, but also our application that's going to be fully online. The application components are all listed online, and they can begin an application as soon as the competition launches, which is going to be in late March this year. And the application timeline will be from March all the way through our October deadline. But first, what we'd want them to do in order to apply is come to their resources on campus. And I understand here at Fayetteville State, that's you, is that right?
Yes, I'm the Fulbright Program Advisor
Yeah.
for Fayetteville State University. So certainly I will be happy to assist them.
And you could take them through the different application components, tell them a little bit about what you know about Fulbright, and help them sort of synthesize their story down, because that's really what it's going to take. I always like to say that one of the challenges of the Fulbright application isn't that it's terribly long, is that it's quite short in some places, and there's a lot to say in that. And so I know that you here at Fayetteville in your office is going to be very helpful in helping students synthesize their stories down to those couple of pages that we request to find out who it is we'd like to send abroad with these opportunities.
Thank you. And one last question I have for you is, how will FSU students be competitive for this particular grant opportunities?
Yeah. Well, one way is certainly working with your office. I think that I travel around the U.S. and my colleagues and I travel around the U.S. to institutions of all types. And that's certainly a type of diversity that we're seeking to send abroad, is institutional diversity. And so I mentioned earlier about sharing the slice of America that you happen to be from. And we want to see that represented in an application, because if you're able to put that into an application, we expect and we hope that you're able to share the slice of America that you're from with individuals abroad. But I think that working with your office, sure, but knowing that there's no time too early to start thinking about working with your office, or to start thinking about ways that you might be a more competitive applicant to spend an academic year in the host country. And that can be gaining language if you're interested in a country that requires language. Now, not all countries will require language, of course. Not necessarily going to expect you to speak Bahasa if you're interested in going to Indonesia, because it's not commonly taught in the U.S. But if you really want to go to, say, Mexico, we're going to expect a certain level of Spanish language acquisition. So thinking early about ways that you might be competitive, finding the opportunity that's right for you, but also not losing sight of the fact that we are looking for good cultural ambassadors. Right? We're going to be evaluating the quality and the feasibility of the project you're putting forward, whether that's research, or you're really excited about a graduate program in the UK, or you want to go to Taiwan to teach English in one of their primary or secondary schools. We're going to certainly be looking for your qualifications, your academic record, your professional record that demonstrates that you're able to do that. But we're also looking, while evaluating your application, for those aspects that make you personally qualified, those things that you've demonstrated that show that you're adaptable, flexible, that you're resilient, and that you're going to be a culturally sensitive person, and that you're going to be able to act as a great citizen diplomat on behalf of the U.S. So really your application is going to be looked at holistically, and I always like to let folk know that, yes, again, we are looking for academic all-stars, but there's no GPA requirement for Fulbright, because we're looking at your application holistically. We don't have a certain number that you have to hit. We're not looking for a magic number. What we're looking for is excellence of all types, excellence in every corner of the U.S. and every corner of a campus that we go to. And we know that there are excellent students who are capable of taking on these challenges of going abroad for an academic year in every campus, and certainly here at Fayetteville State.
Thank you. And we certainly have some excellent students here. So if any of you are interested in applying for any of these Fulbright opportunities that Grant has spoken about today, please come and see me. I'm on campus. My office is 117 Science and Technology Building, and I'm here. I can guide you to all the resources that are available on their website as well as on campus to help you strengthen your application, and hope that you will be a Fulbright ambassador for Fayetteville State University.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.